We have now been married for 4 years, been friends and together for 20. I can say that I was not on your radar when I met you 20 years ago. How was meeting me? How did that affect your life?
Well, at the age of 28, I was on a trajectory to get married, and that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted, basically. And so at that time, I had some interesting spiritual experiences, and I felt like that need to be a wife was being met in my relationship with God. And so
Had you ever met somebody who was transgender?
I don't know, because I don't know if I would have recognized it or if they would have recognized it in my circles, because I was from such a sheltered religious background that if somebody was in touch with the fact that they felt like a man or a woman when they were something else on the outside, I think that I would have probably dismissed them as somebody I didn't want to be around, or somebody that was kind of a mess or deviant. I think there was two parts of me. I think there was a part that would have dismissed them for looks purposes, but there would have been a part of my heart that would have been interested in them and their story and what made them tick. But there was two of me. There was one that showed the world a certain thing, and then there was another one that was searching for what made people tick inside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But the part that when you met me, the part that I was coming out of, I was starting the journey of coming out of, is that feeling of looking a certain way so that I would be accepted or seen as religious or have an impact, or
You had never met anybody like that before.
that I knew of. I started to play for radio Bible class, and they had a special musical thing. And I met somebody there that said, "Gosh, I really wish you could come and play at our church." And I said, "Well, where's your church?" Being at odds and hoping that my life was going to turn out good. I didn't know at that time.
Right.
I was really so lost. And she said, "Well, Clarksville Bible Church." So I ended up coming out to Clarksville Bible Church, and I met you there. And they asked me to come out to play for a special event. It was a Christmas program that you were a part of the play, and I was very curious because there was a man that went to Clarksville Bible Church that had a little bit of a lisp. Like he really talked like he was gay in my mind at that time. And I thought, well, I wonder, he seems important to the church. I wonder why, I'd never seen a man that acted, in my interpretation, gay at a church in a leadership position like that. So I was unsure. And then I saw you up there, and you're in all your tomboy glory, and I was trying to figure out these people. But I really enjoyed the church, and it was a little small farming community, and corn and cows and golden October sun, and a little white steeple church in the middle of this little tiny
Town of 500.
And so I really enjoyed being there. I enjoyed the people, I enjoyed the families, I enjoyed the culture of Michigan. I felt like it gave me something that I had not had in my family, because my family was so dysfunctional that I didn't really know my grandparents, and it was very enticing to me to be part of that. And so the church, as you know, asked me to um, come and be their pianist, um, and in exchange that they would give me free rent. So I'm out in Clarksville, and I am integrating with the church, and here's this person, this tomboy looking somebody that everybody seemed to accept and love as part of the church, and was the only other person exactly my age. And we started hanging out, and you came over to my house, and we started doing things socially with the people in the church, and then doing things by ourselves, like going out to things. Why did we go to Boston Market?
We just went out to get to know each other,
Yeah.
share each other's stories.
Yeah. And I'm still church girl. Even though I had been naughty in college, I was still church girl. And so I was trying to minister to you and encourage you. Save you. And find out your story, really, because you were pretty intriguing. It was interesting because every time I came away from my interactions with Shane at that point, I knew I was really attracted to
him, her.
I would pray, and I would read the Bible, and the only thing that I could ever come up with that I felt the Bible was saying to me, or God was saying to me, is just love her. Just love her. I thought, well, yeah, that's practical. God's made everyone on the earth, but the problem was that also when we went out, people just assumed that we were gay. Even though we weren't close, we were just together. I was just with you. And I could tell that people started treating me a little differently because we were together. And so that was like...
How did they... Can you expound a little bit on how you felt like they treated you?
I felt like people looked at me different. I felt like I wasn't as attractive to other men, which was very important to me at that point. I felt like I was an other. I don't know what an other is. It's the only thing that I have ever been able to... I mean, I know there's terms for it now, but that's what I felt like, an other. I had always been one of the in crowd. Mm-hmm. Even when I was naughty, I was still accepted, and I was accepted because I could flirt with men, and they would flirt back, and I knew my role as a girl, and very feminine and a little bit manipulative here and there, but I was just me. And when I was with you, it was a little bit different. I didn't understand that. I did understand that feeling. It was death to me, and so I really struggled. I really struggled with, if this is not culturally accepted, then it must be sinful, because we avoid all appearance of evil.
How did you, what made you decide to cross over that line?
So God said, just love her. And I thought, well, gosh, I'm attracted to this person. And God just says, just love her. And people are giving me looks. So if I am to just love her, I'm going to have to suck it up and take some looks.
And some judgment.
And the feelings, the other feeling, the otherness, and be part of that life. That's really what it was. And so as I got to know you, and I got to know who you were, and my attraction to you deepened, and I was very conflicted because I had dreams. I had a recurring dream in college that I was attracted to a curly-haired, dark-haired,
don't have much of it anymore,
female. And that was very strange to me because my roommate at the time had curly hair and was stocky. But I knew I wasn't attracted to her, so I didn't understand these dreams. And as I got to know you, I started to remember that feeling. And I think that it was really honestly something preparing my heart for a transition into a different way of being and thinking about people and intimacy and sexuality and all of the things that I had been taught. I'm going to back up. My family, both of my mom and my dad's roots are in the South, and it was nothing to talk about NWPs in my family. NWP stood for non-white person, and so my dad would often talk about those NWPs. As I got to know you, I started to become aware of a feeling, that other feeling is that we didn't talk about people who might be gay. Well, we just didn't see them. We had our goggles to how to be holy and how to look good and how to make ourselves in a certain way. And so I started to become aware, just started to become aware at that point of meeting you, that there was really some prejudice in my family against people who didn't look at or act a certain way. And with the world, I don't mean the world in a spiritual way, but the outside world just has really inhibited us from just having open arms to other cultures and types of people. So that really was a big epiphany as I was walking through the Just Love Her thing. And then another miracle, missionaries were coming back to the church and they needed a place to stay. And the mission house is where they had put me up. And so I had to find another place to live, and the church still liked me and wanted me to continue ministering on staff. And so your parents came forward,
unbeknownst to either one of us,
and asked me to live with them. So I'm struggling with just love her, but avoid all appearances of evil. But what are those kind of people? And now God has opened a way for me to have all my needs met, including
laundry done,
laundry and food, and living with your family as their daughter. And the catch was you.
I'm the bonus.
And so that really was confusing because I felt like I was bad inside. I felt like I was dishonest. I feel like I was tricking the church and I was a hypocrite. But I also knew that there was something more at work here because I had prayed for a home and a future and a family. And so I knew that it was possible that something really wonderful was being worked out at that point.
There was quite a bit of tension between what you felt was good and what you felt wasn't.
What I knew in my heart was moving and what I could see in the outside world.
Yeah. Wow. That's kind of just the beginning. You were attracted to me. I was definitely attracted to you the first time I met you. And I'm kind of realizing at this moment how that attraction to each other really transformed my life, because it was in the midst of that attraction over the next several years that I realized I was transgender. I wasn't gay. I wasn't a freak. I'm seeing the thread of how that attraction walked us through all of these things.
Yes. I have something to say.
Go ahead.
So, in a world where I had been taught to do what I thought was right, and it had gotten me nowhere, really. I was physically attracted to someone who society said I shouldn't be. Was so confusing, but it was also the most real that I had ever felt up until that point. And the rub was, I feel like God was saying, okay, I say all of these things in the Bible. I say all of these things through your parents and through your church and all these things. And I'm saying this through your body. A natural something that you have no control over. Are you going to go with your head? Or are you going to go with your heart? And it was, which one am I going to follow? So I know this path. I know this spiritual path and being good and
the theory,
looking a certain way. But I don't know what it is to follow my heart. And what I knew that I knew that I knew. And that became the spiritual rub for me. Could I let go of everything I knew the Bible to say and what I thought the Bible preached about to hold on to something that was real? And I was
you were hooked.
It was hard, but I was hooked.
It rubbed off a lot of corners inside of you, I would say, right?
It began to break down everything I thought about spirituality.
Wow.
Well, you and I began a holding pattern because we decided to move out from your parents and explore life in Colorado and away from what we knew, and of living together,
Friends.
me occasionally dating other people, that Shane and I were just friends with some confusing Friday nights.
True.
And we didn't really know what to do with it. We just sat on it. But I pulled away from the church and I stopped playing and ministering because I knew that wouldn't work. Because Shane would come with me to a church that I played for, and immediately, as soon as they saw him, they would look at me different. Like there was something wrong with me because there was something wrong with Shane, which was really sad.
That was a big deal for you.
Yeah, the church didn't accept you. And I knew God had told me to love you.
How did it make you feel to go to church or go to events with somebody that you loved, confusing as it was, and watch what would happen for me in those circles, and then in turn for you?
It made me outraged because it was a dismissal of a human being because of a theory that they had in their heads, a way that they thought the Bible preached and told them to be. And basically it comes down to they were rejecting you so they could go to heaven, or that they could have a hierarchy in the church. It's a dismissal of a soul and what they did to you, and watching it does to other people. It's the most horrendous crime against humanity anybody could ever experience. And to be an other.
I see your passion and your heart, not just for me, but for the others in this world.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
I'm sorry for the damage that our society has done to your self-esteem.
Thank you. I very much appreciate you saying that.